Welcome to After Dark at the Fixed Ops Roundtable, featuring Katrina, Ness, Vanessa Collins, and Ted Ings. This episode is brought to you by BG Products, partners beyond products. And now for your hosts, Ted Ings, Vanessa Collins, and Katrina Ness.
Good evening, everyone. Happy Wednesday night, and welcome to the Fixed Ops Roundtable's After Dark show. Tonight, our guest is Don Brady, who is one of our good friends at the Fixed Ops Roundtable, and I'm sure you guys all know him by his infamous comments. Vanessa, if you want to pull those up and give us a view at what they are, I'm sure you guys will all recognize those down in the bottom of your screen. That is Don Brady and his brand. Don owns a car dealership in Ohio, and he is also known for the fact that he ships cars. So I'm excited to dive in tonight and learn a little bit more about Don.
Wow. Welcome. Don Brady, welcome. Good to have you. All right. So with that.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you.
Of course.
It's always an honor. I actually am a huge fan of things. And
all right. Well, Don, I think that Katrina did pretty well with the intro tonight. So when we hear your
hello.
Yep, we got some latency there, Don. So we'll do our best with that. But Vanessa, I guess this is live, so that's what we get, right?
Yes, it is. That's the beauty of being live and depending on internet connection. So
there we go, Don. And David Lucas is in Australia saying good morning.
Good morning.
Great to have you, David. So, Don, what have you been up to? You got a lot of things on the go.
Good morning. Yeah, so everybody knows that is it still delayed?
No, you're good.
Keep rolling. We're good.
The vice president of dealer success for Ship Your Car Now. And I did a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago now, I opened up a small car dealership in my hometown of Alliance, Ohio. So having a blast. That was supposed to be a hobby that's turned into a full-fledged car dealership, which, again, I'm having fun with that. But then I was feeling a little lazy, so I became a national sales trainer for the Certified Solutionary. So I'm out there literally all over the country training car dealers, and it's very weird to have them ask me to help them with their social media. I would have never, ever thought that I would be training social media at the age of 55. So
is that what you're doing? And tell us there's a reason for the emojis. What do these stand for?
So I know that it's good when I have a lot of followers and I try to give back. So I try to repost. I probably spend 5 or 6 hours a day just liking people's posts. And of course that helps them with the algorithms. But I was told it's been about almost 4 years ago, someone told me that what really helps more than the liking of their post is if you comment on their post. So yes. It takes too long to comment on so many people's posts. So I started putting the sunglasses emoji on their post, and I put a lot of them out there. I added the palm tree about a year and a half ago because I know a lot of people don't realize this, but every time I ship a car, I plant a tree. Every time I sell a car, I plant 75 trees. So that's where those emojis come from, and that's why I'm out there putting those out on everybody's post out there.
That is awesome. Question, when does it turn into a Christmas tree?
In December. And I've been doing that. I just started doing that a couple of days ago. So it's kind of changed. It's changing in December to Christmas trees.
I love it. You have to be festive, don't you? It's very good.
Yep.
Don, it's great to see you. And I know you've been on with these ladies before, and they've been with us now. It's over the 1 year anniversary. And Don, I think they've really come a long way with what they're doing.
Well, and I've been watching you guys, and you're so busy. I mean, with Ted Ings, and then I've been watching what you guys are doing up north, and it's amazing. And I'm excited for your futures in the greatest industry in the world, the car business. So.
Thank you. Yeah, it's hard to believe that it's already been over a year now that we've been with the Fixed Ops Roundtable, but it's been such a great opportunity for both of us being in school. It's mainly remote, which is awesome. And then also like all the connections that we have created through our After Dark shows, through LinkedIn in general, and doing social media, promoting the events. So yeah, it's been great. And I agree. The car business is an amazing industry to be in.
And you guys had a real big car show, right? Didn't I see that? That was impressive.
Katrina.
Thank you. Yeah, we always have a car show every year at Northwood. It's been going on for 62 years now, or this will be our 62nd one in the end of September. And I'm the general chair of the show, so it's super exciting that I've gotten the opportunity to be able to lead an amazing group of students who are passionate about the auto industry, and that we're trusted with all these assets from different dealers and the OEMs to display on campus for the community.
Yeah, it actually looked like the biggest car show of the year. And I wanted to get up there and I wasn't able to make it. But wow, it was impressive.
Yeah, it is. Thank you. You'll have to come next year. Obviously, we'll be doing a whole Fixed Ops Roundtable pop-up event there for our 3rd year. So that's something to look forward to, and some great people to reconnect with.
And Don, it's been moved, like Katrina said, to September. And she doesn't know this, but we were supposed to have our Fixed Ops Roundtable virtual event the same week. And I've moved the Fixed Ops Roundtable to a week earlier to accommodate the fact that we will be able to come to Northwood. So there we go.
Oh,
That's awesome.
Thank you, Ted.
That's awesome.
That means so much.
How are the pop-ups going? I had the pleasure of being at one down in Florida, but how are those going now? How many have you done now, Ted?
You were at the first one, Don.
The very first one, yes.
And you drove that big motorhome. I remember when you called Ed Roberts and said, "I have a 40-foot motorhome out in the driveway. Where do I park it?"
Yep, and they were going through a lot of construction, so that wasn't real easy. His dealership, it's just amazing. But so, how many pop-ups have you had since that?
This will be number, I believe, 14. So,
wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. So
I got to get to another one. That was fun.
Yeah, and we learned from them, Don. We got better with each one as they went along, and like now we actually have an audience of people who come, groupies, if you will, who follow us to the roundtable pop-ups. No, but seriously, they're very refreshing, and we learn something at every one of these that we do. So this
That's
next
awesome.
one will be at Beaux-Arts next Thursday and Friday, and we're going to broadcast it, and it's going to have a lot to do with mobile service, of course, which is Ed's sweet spot.
Yeah, well, the mobile service is catching on. It's catching fire, really, all across the nation. Kind of important.
Yeah, it's really important. And this young man here, Alexander Maison, he was the general chair this past October at the 61st Northwood International Auto Show. And Alexander, great job. Best one to date. Katrina said it's going to be hard to top it, but she said she will.
Possibly. I mean, I'm not going to say things until they happen. But again, like Ted said, it'll be a hard one to top. And I think everyone saw that.
And Don, Alexander has helped the Fixed Ops Roundtable in so many ways. We were up there in June. We did an event with the full tank camp that Katrina and Vanessa were both involved with. And we've had Alexander and a lot of the students and a lot of the co-chairs, if you will, from the auto show on. And he and his team have done an amazing job and, left a great legacy there at Northwood. So congratulations, Alexander.
Thank you.
And then Tony's the groupie, yes.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
I love it.
So, Don, you're still shipping cars.
Yeah, Tony Owens, he's definitely a groupie. Love him.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like things are really starting to waking up even more. But yeah, there's GMs that are buying cars from all over the USA and bringing them back to their store by the truckloads and single units. So I'm heavily involved in that. It's my brother, and I hate to say this, my baby brother, actually just retired after 30 years in the military, and he came on board. So if you haven't noticed in my post, it's actually changed from Ship Your Car Now with Don Brady to Ship Your Car Now with the Brady brothers, because he's helping me with that. And then at the dealership, my son is he's the general manager of my store, and really he's really helping me there, because I can't be on airplanes traveling east and west and north and south and be at the store every day. So Donnie's, my son's, helping me there. So it's really, I mean, everybody's kind of jumped out. I have my grandkids help wash cars, and we're actually just as a family kind of getting things done. So
that's awesome. It's family business.
Yep. And of course, the tagline.
Right. This is what happens. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
By the way, Vanessa, what is that? I'm sorry, I was going to ask Vanessa, what is that hat you're wearing tonight?
Oh, yes. This is Route 66. Just came in the mail, and it actually matches the theme of our upcoming event. So, yeah, super excited. Starting to get our themed outfits planned and social media.
Route 66.
Yeah, it's a great theme, isn't it?
Don's up for a road trip, I could tell. And that's going to start in January.
It really is.
On the 20th. It's the third week in January, Monday through Thursday. And we're going on a road trip on Route 66. And we're going to have a lot of fun with that, Don. So we're going to come along with us for that. And there's the group.
The groupies.
The groupies.
That's awesome. So, how is
I actually did a road trip. I did a road trip on Route 66.
Oh, you did?
I remember that. Yes. Tell us about that. It's it's kind of like we're communicating with like the moon.
Yeah,
Mars,
I did
right?
a couple charge across America. So drove a electric vehicle from New York City. Is it still delayed?
Keep going. We love the story.
Sorry about that.
You drove an electric vehicle from New York City. Did you go?
Yeah. So I drove an electric vehicle, an ID4 from New York City to Los Angeles, California, and it was on NBC Sports.
That's crazy that it was. Did you say it made NBC?
Yep, down Route 66.
Wow. So Vanessa, we got to have him on just for that story alone.
Oh, we do 100%. Even if it's just a fun story to talk about a Route 66 road trip, it totally fits the theme, and it would be definitely interesting for viewers.
I remember when he did that in the electric car too, Vanessa. That was like early on, Don. Like what, a year and a half, 2 years ago? Something like that.
I don't know.
All right. Well, we'll bring Don back in. Don, log back in, and we'll bring you back into the show. So, all right. That's okay. All right.
It happens. We're live.
I'm live. Yeah. So, what have you guys been up to?
At the Northwood Auto Show, we're getting ready to wrap up our captain's interviews. So we had some of those going on this week to kind of start putting placement for our different over 60 teams that we have. We're looking at getting a racing division as part of the show, as well as more into the heavy duty. So if anyone has any racing connections or personal race cars, or has friends that have personal race cars, drag racing, anything really, we're excited and looking for just new stuff to add to the show that's going to grab the viewers' attentions. So
that's so cool, Katrina.
Thank you.
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you have been, rapid firing. Like, did I see you guys got your headshots today?
Yeah, so I did mine, and a couple other board members did, and then I think most of them are going to take place on Wednesday of next week. So we're really rolling and getting stuff going. So I'm excited.
Here she is. She could bring Becky into the racing division, Katrina.
I would love to. Anyone and anything.
Welcome back, Don.
Welcome back.
I'm almost afraid to talk. Is it still delayed?
No, it's
No.
great.
It's good. You're
Perfect.
completely clear now.
Okay, I'm so sorry, guys.
No, it's okay. It's not your fault at all.
It gives new meaning to welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
I do have to tell you, so we're having like snow and ice here, and I do have cornfields on like all sides of me, so the internet's not the best, but yeah, it's snow to it.
Yeah.
It's holding up now. It's doing
We were
really
saying
well.
that you need to be on our next upcoming event to talk about your experience on the Route 66 in your road trip, because that's what our entire theme encompasses. So if you're interested, we would love to have you on to just kind of talk about your experience with that.
I would love that, and it's the EVs are still a buzzword. There always will be a buzzword in our industry, and people always ask me if I would ever own an EV, and the answer is quickly yes. I just don't think they should be. I don't think everybody in America has to have one or should be like mandated to drive them. But my experience with EVs have been tremendous, and I love the vehicles, and yeah, the road trip was exciting, and it was on national TV, so that was kind of fun too.
Yeah.
You were telling us who covered it. Give us a little bit more color on that.
So it was NBC Sports. You can actually still, if you go to the chargeacrossamerica.com, you can still watch the pilot in its entirety without commercials. So it's kind of neat, but it was unique. I mean, we started in New York City. We ended in Los Angeles, California. We had 10 days to go. We would punch in the morning and punch out at night, stay in a hotel. We were not allowed to charge overnight. We had to charge as we went throughout the day. So it was a challenge, but it was fun. Park My Fleet kind of sponsored it along with the Charge Across America. So, and of course, Ship Your Car Now. I mean, I was all geared up. They said I was a walking billboard for Ship Your Car Now, but it was an experience, and it's going to be something that'll be in my obituary one day, because it was that neat.
Yeah,
you are a walking billboard. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. What an incredible and unique experience, and I think it
So
goes.
So the Route 66. What do you guys? You guys gonna?
Yeah, Route 66 is going to be our theme for the event in January. We've got a lot of themed parts of the show that are going to reflect all that. So actually, Vanessa, I don't know if you saw some of the scripts that came out in the last day or two. I did email them to you as well.
Yeah, I did. It's going to be, an exciting theme. A lot of outfits, a lot of, play with words for our, social media videos. And yeah, again, it's just a great theme to work with and very fitting for, our event. So yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, we'll have to get you a promotional flyer for, our LinkedIn, and it's going to be great.
I would love to be a part of it, for sure.
All right, we're honored to have you. I like that a lot. All right, so what are you doing with the Solutionaries with Fred and company?
Fred and Lou, the car guys, they still do the Car Guy Coffee podcast, but we're traveling, and we're actually basically the Solutionaries. So anything a dealership can use help with. Obviously, we train the young staff from the Green to Great program. So we're actually teaching them everything from the walk around to the meet and greet, all the way through the 10 steps to the sale. We're doing that. And then appointment sell cars. We're really pushing hard on teaching them how important it is, how many to smile and dial, and how many dials they need to hit their goals and set appointments. So yeah, I mean, a lot of dealerships, you'll hear them say how important appointments are, but if you walk into the dealership and say how many appointments you have, you might hear one or two, and that's not going to get it done. So we're really training the staffs on how to get appointments set.
I remember that. So you're actually going into the store for how many days do you typically go in?
So typically it's 2 days in the store a month, and then every week after that we're doing Zoom calls with them and teach them that. And then of course we have a whole platform where they can go in and watch videos and train I mean, I've been trained by some of the best in the industry. I feel, like the Joe Verdes and the Grant Cardones. I went through that training growing up. Stuker, I've been through a lot of those. And now it's neat because I'm hoping that one day I'll be looked at as a trainer that actually made a difference out there. So.
How far do you usually travel for these work to dealership trips?
So it's funny that you say that. So I've only been doing this now since mid-October.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Very recent.
It's kind of new. And I realize how not young I am anymore, because the first time I went out to New Mexico, they had me jump on a plane early Monday morning. I fly to New Mexico, and then I get there. I'm already in my suit, or like in a sport coat. I go straight to the dealership and train all the way until 9:00 at night, and then crash, wake up the next morning, train all day, and then jump on a plane and fly overnight to come back to Ohio. So yeah, it's not, traveling is not easy. I have to really give kudos to all those road warriors that are actually flying all over the country, and you've got flight delays and weather and just all the things that go along with it.
What I think a lot of people may not know is that you have a big retail background. You ran dealerships. You were the general manager. Tell us about that. You're super well qualified to do this.
Well, I hope I am. I mean, it's an ever-changing industry. We all have to pivot a lot. But I spent 10 years in the Army. I'm a 10-year U.S. Army combat veteran. Once I got out of the,
thank you for your service.
Yeah, once I got out of the military, I jumped into the car business as a salesperson. So hadn't sold anything before, so it was new to me. But that turned into a career of, I went from sales to finance to the sales desk, all the way to my last 7 or 8 years was as a general manager. And my last stint as a GM, I ran a fairly large, it was a Cadillac, Buick, GMC, Nissan campus. So former GM, now 27 years in the car business. I spent the last 5 years on the vendor side, so that kind of helped me a lot with the Ship Your Car Now. And then opening my own dealership. A lot of the reason I decided to do that was the pandemic hit the world, and it really kind of, there's so much conversations in the car business about transparency and digital retailing and all these things. But everybody that knows the business knows that there's a big difference of the car business prior to the pandemic and post-pandemic. And I felt like I was losing my relativity. So now that I'm an actual dealer, when I sit in front of a car dealer or in front of a GM,
right,
I know what they go through because I'm personally going through it back in Ohio. So I'm having the same issues with finding cars and used cars. The market's so crazy. I'm still trying to buy cars and sell them for a profit. All the things that every car dealer is going through right now. So am I. So the relevancy's back.
That's awesome that you started out as a salesperson, worked your way up to general manager, and now, opened up your own small car dealership that started as a hobby, but, has turned into this full-fledged independent dealership. You really, turned a passion into a living, and you worked your way up from sales, which, is its own thing, definitely hard at times, but to general manager and owner. So good for you. Good for you. That's awesome. Yeah. Do you have any pieces of advice or any, certain strategies that you did while I know you've been in the car business for a while, but, making your move all the way up and, working your way up in the car business?
So I would say this, and I've said this before, it was easier walking into a dealership campus, meeting the owners and them saying, here's the keys, here's your employees, here's your, you got Cadillac, Buick, GMC. That was actually easier than starting a lot from the dirt, and growing it to what it's, and it's a challenge every day. But the advice I would tell everybody out there is just never give up. There's a saying about if you love what you're doing, you never work a day in your life.
Yeah.
And there's truth to that. I absolutely love the car business. And the reason I'm doing the training is because I love this industry, and I really want to make a difference. My legacy is that I want to leave is not even about the dealership. It's more about how many lives did I touch, how many people did I help along the way. So that's what excites me about the solutionary part of what I'm doing. But at the end of the day, I mean, I love having a car dealership. I absolutely love it. So, and coming into tax time, I'm doing some things at the dealership that is a little bit different. Like there's dealers in Ohio, they charge a dock fee. It used to be $250. Now it's $387. I've actually chosen to not charge that dock fee. Little things like I'm fill up the gas tank, and somebody that buys a car for $4,000, to me is just as important as someone that buys one for $50,000. So I'm really trying to lift them up, and it's a big deal. Every deal is a big deal, and then of course we're planting 75 trees every time we do it too. So
that's amazing.
How many trees have you planted? Do you have the math? Do you have the numbers?
It's a little over 10,000 now. So they figured out, it's called the carbon offset company, and they figured out that the carbon that needs to be replaced from a car is 75 trees to do that. So that's where that 75 comes in. And then when I started planting one tree every time a car got shipped. That doesn't sound like a lot, but I'm shipping a lot of cars, so it adds up too. But it's just something that I'm passionate about. I've been called a tree hugger, and the last time that happened, I put on a tree outfit and got on social media because I'll just embrace it. It's fine.
I love it. I love it. You are you. That's awesome. I'm curious, what is your perspective on the value of going into the dealership and training? How do you, approach dealers with that, and how do you help them see the value in bringing you and your team in?
So I have to say that a lot of it so far has been Fred and Lou. And if you don't know Fred and Lou, they're kind of the opposite of me. I'm not the hyper guys that they are. So we actually bring balance to each other, I think. But I think the training is if there's one thing that a dealer does, the most important thing they can do is train. I've always believed in that. There's another saying. I always like these sayings that I've heard, and I always mess them up usually. But they say, well, what happens if I spend all this money to train these people and they leave? And the sayings, the flip to that is, what happens if you don't train them and they stay? How much more of an impact, negative impact that has on a dealership? So really, as far as the value, I'll just put it this way. So I had small children. They're not small anymore. They're adults. But I'll never forget when I used to go to the parent-teacher conferences, and the teachers would brag about how awesome my kids were, like how well behaved, and they did everything they were asked. They did everything they were told. And I used to think sometimes, that's my kid you're talking about? Are you sure? I mean, and because at home they wouldn't do anything that I asked them to do, and they wouldn't listen, and they would run around. So the car dealerships that say I'll train in house and do it myself, sometimes when you have an outside trainer come in, the team will respond better to that outside team. We make it fun, we make it exciting. I just basically want to put my arms around these salespeople and help them in any way that I can. But sometimes, when I was a GM, you'd ask them to do videos to their customers, and they just wouldn't do it. We're asking them to do videos to their customers, and it's different. It's coming from us. We're showing them that it works.
You're an outsider. Yeah. Yeah. And you know who else that brings a lot of value to? Is the manager. When somebody comes in from the outside, the manager needs reinforcement and coaching and help too.
Yeah. And with anything in any business, you've got to hold your team responsible. And sometimes that's hard because you got so many fires you're putting out as a GM or as a GSM. We're helping with that. We're helping hold them accountable for what we're training and what, so it's really, we're part of the team. And I think that's what I like about what I've seen so far. We're going into these dealerships, and we're not just outside, we're actually becoming a part of their team, and that means a lot to me.
I see Tim's comment here. Thank you for your service. So Don, thank you for your service.
I was honored to serve. Most important 10 years of my life, I think.
Yep. And your father, I believe your father too, from what I remember.
Yep, he retired from the Army, and then, like I said earlier, my baby brother retired after 30 years. So
Wow.
he's with the Ship Your Car now with the Brady brothers now. So.
All right, Don. So how do people reach you? How do they find you? Or I know you find them, but if they're seeking out Don Brady.
Well, I always say my cell phone. I'm one of the strange ones that my cell phone number is the same since cell phones were actually created. So they can always call me or text me, and that number is 330-581-5247. You can always find me on LinkedIn. I mean, I'm on there a lot, and also on Facebook. And really coming up on is TikTok now. I'm starting to do TikTok. I'm not dancing or anything, but I'm on TikTok. But yeah, my cell phone's probably the absolute best way to reach me.
I wouldn't be surprised if you were dancing though.
I'm not afraid to. I'm just not a great dancer.
Vanessa, he dressed up as the Phantom of the Opera for one of our events 2 years ago.
That
That
is
is awesome.
That was
And
fun.
went on the road to Vegas as the Phantom of the Opera.
Yep.
That's great. Oh, and it's because of great people like you, Don, that the car business is so great. So never stop being you. I always love to see your palm tree or festive Christmas tree and cool guy sunglass emojis on LinkedIn comments. And yeah, thank you so much for being on tonight.
Thank you guys for inviting me, and I'm so sorry again about the internet.
no, you're good.
Sorry.
And I'm looking forward to the Route 66 road trip.
Yeah.
66 coming up in January, everybody. January 20th to the 23rd. Fixedopsroundtable.com. Tickets are complimentary. And there's Ed Roberts and Sean Kingry and Sarah and the great Tully. You know Tully, don't you, Don?
I do. Great guy.
Yep, a lot of fun. And in the meantime, next week, everybody, we'll be back here on Monday night with another After Dark show. We'll have the Car Wars people here with us. And then Wednesday night, we're going to be in St. Augustine, Florida, and we'll be at the pop-up event for a couple days. And you're going to be watching that broadcast for a while. And that's going to be a lot of fun. So if you're in Florida next week, everybody, the event starts on Thursday morning at 8 o'clock at Ozard Ford Lincoln. So we'll see you all there. Don, thank you so much.
Thanks again, guys, so much.
Everybody, thanks, and we'll see you on Monday night.